Okay, so it's time to move slightly to the part of the course where we start to talk about video editing, and hopefully you all got my email or message yesterday concerning the software you should download, because the software itself it's quite huge and it may take some time to download, because I think it was about 2 gigabytes or something, the whole package. But the information about that it's in your email, so you can check that one from there. I will show the web page shortly, but before that, a couple of words about the audio still, because the last time when we ended the lectures, I gave you a short or something to test with the compressing and things, all those things we checked through, but the actual exercise for the audio is the one I have already talked about, and that was the radio commercial. So for that, yeah, these are hidden still. So let's start from the groups first. So I created the groups. We had a group, some kind of groups in some lecture where we did some kind of group work, but I didn't have those names of all the people which one was in which group, so I created a totally new random groups with 3 persons, because the amount of the students in this course was easily divided by 3. So now we have 17 different groups formed like this. This is totally randomly done, so I just simply took the name list from Moodle and then with some method created the groups. So it might be so that there is no one you know already in your group, but that shouldn't be a problem with you. So you can check the name list from Moodle. It should be open already. So if you refresh the page, you can check that one. Then there is a link for this group work. There is also the English topic for this, but unfortunately I had only a Finnish version here, but I will give a short note for our exchange students for this. I will open this one as well. So there it is, a group work for radio commercial. There is this kind of text about what to do and how to do, and the deadline for this exercise is like this. The idea is to create a radio commercial for our university. So for Finnish students, the kind of the target group who you are making this kind of commercial to would be a newcomers or that kind of young people who are wondering if they would choose our university as a place to study. So that's the main idea in this. And for our exchange students, I was thinking that it might be a better solution for your version of the radio commercial to make something to the students who are wondering if they would make their exchange period in Lahti. So a little bit different point of view, but still kind of the same target group, young students and so on. But Finnish students, you should do your commercial for people who are thinking that they will start somewhere, and the exchange students, you may do your work for, well, for your colleagues who are thinking if next year they would do something like this. And this is all in Finnish, but I will, as I said, I will send a short note to our exchange students about this. So Finnish students can also check out this one from Moodle. Then there is a lot of links in here, so let's open these. There is a lot of web pages to giving kind of hints how to do a radio commercial or radio advertisement. So I just picked a few of those. There is 3 in English and 1. Yeah, like this. So there is a few web pages, and you can find these a lot more by typing making a radio commercial in Google. So there is a lot of information about this kind of things or this kind of thing in internet. So about the exercise, it should be, as it's said here, 30 seconds. Most of the commercials, they are kind of close to half a minute. So let's try to keep it short and informative, but still kind of, well, maybe not funny, but kind of interesting thing. So it hasn't been that strict and kind of follow the company policy or so. There can be humor and that kind of things, but let's try to keep all that in 30 seconds, because I will listen all of those, and if they are too long, it might get boring, or at least it will take more time from me. So that's the usual length of it's the same thing in a TV and in radio. The 30 seconds is kind of a target for commercials. And well, as you can see, there is a kind of steps or things to think about when you are doing this kind of thing. And well, this is one option of those, but if you go through all these things, you can see that there is a different kind, different places, but similar things in these. And there's a good examples, for example, in this page, about the different kind of commercials. So as you can see, they are close to 30 seconds, each of these. And then about the radio script again. So keep it simple. That's maybe the main point in here. If there is too much to say in 30 seconds, it's not that clear. The message will disappear in that hurry. If you put a lot of sentences, a lot of words in 30 seconds, then the message it's not clear anymore. So let's try to keep it simple. And then there is also a Finnish page, which is kind of covering the similar things that we saw already in those pages in English. So as I said, there is a lot of different pages giving information about this kind of thing. Then I will get back to this PDF, this Finnish version. So because of the well, some of you don't live in Lahti, so it shouldn't be a problem, because this one hasn't been that high quality recording that real commercials are. So you can do this one, as it said in here, like as we say in Finnish, Puorman technique. So you can record your own part of the commercial, for example, with the mobile phone, if you don't have a recorder. Of course, you can use your headset and computer. That might be also a good solution. But one thing which is kind of annoying in that kind of recording, if you are not using the real recording environment, is the echo from the room. If you have hard walls, if you have concrete walls around you, it might be heard in that recording. And well, there is one trick which was given by a student last year's classes, and it was given in a chat in a Zoom, and it was about the having a blanket over your head, and that mutes all that echo around you. Kind of funny thing, but that's true. It's one of those tricks you can do when you are making a recording. Another one, quite good place to make recordings is a car, but with the car there is a problem with the surrounding audio, because you need to well, you cannot do that one at a parking place or in the middle of the city, because the cars which are passing by, you can hear those quite easily. But if you have a quiet place and want to make a recording, the car, inside the car, it's a good option as well. I have tried that one, that method, a couple of times when I have done some voiceovers for the videos. So, but I'm living on the countryside, so that's not a problem for me. Okay, so that was about that. Then, of course, you need to have some kind of background audio for your commercial. If you have only a simple script, it might be quite well, how to say, dull. So for that, I have added some sources for audio clips. So there is a audio libraries for the music and that kind of sounds, and then the sound effects as well. So there is a lot of different kind of sources. These are only the first ones I have been using myself. So And actually, I added this was the addition I made just before these lectures. So I added this kind of wiki page in here, which is kind of empty right now. But because in each year there has been a lot of good options for different kind of audio sources from the students. So I decided to add this kind of page as well in here for you to add some links in here for music and for sound effects. So if you know, or if you are using certain site for downloading and using the free audio, it would be nice if you can add those links in here to rest of us. So the these which I have added in here, there's a few of those, but I will go directly to the YouTube audio library. This is, well, there is a lot of music and effects in here, and you can be sure that YouTube won't complain if you are using these from here. So the thing to use of these is that you need to be signed in to the YouTube, or you need to have your Google account active to see this one. If I'm correct, I'm always logged in. So, but I think it changed a couple of years ago. This was totally open, but then it turned that way that you need to have your Google account active to see all these. But as you can see, there is a lot of music, for example, in here. It says total amount of these songs is 1,254 songs, and they are divided by genre or mood, or then you can also select an artist if you know some artist who has music in here and like to use that one. It's also an option. So here is a lot of background music to use, and you can also filter these, like for example, if you need this kind of ambient music background, then by clicking next to name of the genre, you will filter all these, and then taking off goes like this. Then there was also a link about the sound effects, but it's the same page in here, another tab. So here we have a sound effects tab, and the same thing. There is, well, surprisingly, there is a quite limited amount of these effects. There was songs more than 1,000, but there is only 364 sound effect clip in here. So, but if you have certain kind of sound, you can also filter that kind of things. There is for example, traffic sounds or power tools or some kind of cartoon sounds and so on, or sports or whatever. So kind of that, well, that kind of sounds which can be used as an effect. There is also a longer sounds as well, but mostly these are a few seconds or half a minute or so. And for example, this one which was played in the background while I was talking, there is a different kind of door openings. So wooden door which opens and closes and so on, and you can pick one of those from that clip. So in many of these clips there is a kind of multiple examples of the similar kind of voice. Okay. So and then if this feels somehow kind of limited with those 300 plus examples or effects, you can, not from there, but from the Freesound, I'm using this one quite often because they have quite nice amount of sound effects in here. So this one is about a year ago when they reached 500K sound files in this Freesound service. So there's a lot of different kind of sounds. And you can listen them in here by pressing that play button. But if you like to download these, I think, yep, it needs to have, I have an account in here. It's totally free, but you need to create an account to download. So it's free, but it needs to have an account. But this is quite good place for, especially for these kind of special effects or effect sounds. Then I need to show this one. Of course, you need to return your exercise somewhere. So this is for that one. And then there is an example from previous years. So I think all these examples I found, they are before the time of lab. These are from, let's see, 2019, when we were still LUMC, Lahti University of Applied Sciences. So, but the idea is the same. I have had this example or exercise a few years in this course. So there is a, let's see, 4 different commercial in Finnish. So those are the examples for Finnish students. Okay, so quite a lot of the topic is about video editing, but there is quite a lot about this exercise. So there is a task itself, and then the groups and all this material and examples in here for your use. And as it was said, there is the deadline was the end of this month, so there is about 3 weeks for this one, so it shouldn't be that big problem. Maybe the biggest part of this is to form your group, or actually the groups are already formed, but find your fellows in this exercise and start to design the script. But maybe you get some, at least the Finnish students got some ideas from those older examples. So that's the kind of the explanation about this audio exercise, the last one we have in here. The tools, this can easily be done with the Audacity, but if you or someone in your group have some more advanced software to create this kind of production, feel free to use that one. I think I didn't restrict the file type in here. I think I will change this one, the MP3. So, well, maybe I change that one a little bit later. So I'll just try to remember, did I say everything I was planning? Yeah, if I get something in my mind later on, so I will send a message for you, and I will translate this one in English for our Spanish students as well. Okay, so that was about the audio part and kind of the last exercise in that. Of course, we will make some exercises with the audio and video as well with the video editing software, but this is kind of the last thing where we are creating plain audio file in here. The rest of the audio will also has a video, so maybe we can consider this as a video part in this course. Okay, so need to have the participants list visible. Hold on. So there is come on, this is, I have a new mouse in here and all the time making this kind of tricks with the zooming the window in here. So yes, about the video exercises, as I have been telling you from the start of this course, we will use the free software called DaVinci Resolve, and hopefully all of you have had that message yesterday to download and install the software into your computer. So actually, I would like to ask, what is the situation with your installation? So would you raise your hand? There is a button for that if you have installed the software, to see that what is the situation right now. So yeah, I'm waiting a little bit because it's also always complicated for me as well to find that hand button from the toolbar. But okay, it seems a little bit worrying, but well, it's not a problem not to have the software itself, but it would be a lot of easier to test things if you have that already installed. But well, if you don't, then you need to just follow the things along and see what is happening. I try to be as clear as possible and so on. Yeah, so you can take your hands down or off now, so there is only a few of you. But for the rest of you, if you open the message I sent you, maybe we go this one through, even though I was planning to start right away. But if there is so many of you who hasn't done this yet, so the site or the download, it starts from this link. So let's start like this. So the software, as I said, it's called DaVinci Resolve, and the version is 17 right now. And there is two of these links. And well, of course you can buy that one, but the free version is totally enough for our use. It might be so that because I have the Resolve Studio in my computer, so it has all those features activated in my computer. So if I'm using some tool or some feature which is not supported in a free version, you should say it immediately. Immediately if I'm starting to use some kind of tool that the free version doesn't have, because it's really complicated to know if something is not available in, but all the basic things you need, they are available in a free version. The annoying thing is that there is all that stuff in a free version as well, but you can't know if you can use it or not before you click something, and then it says that this feature is only available in a commercial version or something like that. But I try to keep all things quite simple, so it should be okay. But anyway, the free download is from here, and well, even though it says free download, the right side of this, I think this is the commercial version anyhow, so you should download this plain DaVinci Resolve version, not the Studio. And there is all these three platforms supported, so that's the nice thing in this as well. There is well, the Linux platform rarely have this big softwares usually, or at least most of the software which are free to use in Linux, they are quite small and kind of limited. So it's quite nice to have this one also for Linux. Okay, so it seems that some of you already started to download the software, so I will start slowly, and I think you will get the idea in here, and you can follow along at the same time. And when you got your software up and running, then it's easier to make these exercises if you have software installed. About the Studio version, well, as you can see, it says $295. And it's quite reasonable price for the software like this, I have to say. And if you like to buy that one, you can of course get the download from there, but it's also sold in different places in Finland. I checked this one, for example, in here, but they are only selling this kind of bundle where you have these tools. So there is a software, the DaVinci Resolve Studio, and this kind of editing keyboard. Actually, I have, well, this keyboard was released roughly about a year ago, and they had really nice price for this bundle. So it was, I think it was 305 euros that I paid for this speed editor keyboard and the software, the studio version of the software. So it was 295 in euros as well, and then the well, it was 295 for the software and 10 euros for this keyboard. When they released that one, it was kind of a few weeks offer only, and needed to catch that one right away. Yeah. Okay. Well, there was a good idea in chat if we start the coffee break already and start after it. So yeah, actually I had the same thing in my mind a minute ago. So let's make so that we will continue 15 past, and let's see how many of you already had the software installed. So now pausing the recording here. Okay, so now I need to start up the software. So let's start from here. So as you can see, I have the Resolve Studio 17 in here, and I think my version is 17.2 point something, and the version you downloaded, it's 17.4.4. There is a minor difference between those, but nothing that big, maybe more like bug fixes and such thing. Okay, so as you can see, I have this kind of startup window, and there is a few folders and few projects in here. In my case, I think you should have the empty view in here. Maybe the untitled project is visible in there. But the idea here at the start is that you create a new project or a new folder. And well, creating a folder comes handy in that case, that if you have a lot of different kind of, well, maybe not different kind of, but a similar kind of projects under the certain topic. And in my case, for example, this course will be foldered in here, and this one is for the last year's edition of this course. So, and in here I have a test folder. I usually test some exercises I'm going to do with you beforehand, and the same thing with this one. So I will put all that kind of practicing things from my side in this folder, and then the project we are making together in here will be in here, but it's up to you which way to make this thing. To get back to the top level, there is a kind of breadcrumb path in here. So if you are going inside somewhere, you can see how the path is getting longer in here, and you can jump in each level like this. Well, I leave it totally up to you how maybe it's anyhow a good practice to use this kind of folders. So if you're making your own projects and so on, they can be in another folder or simply in this main level as a project. But I encourage you to create a folder for certain kind of things, and it keeps this view more tidy and clean. As you can see, I already have well, not a lot, but still a bunch of things in here already. So it might be a good idea to have this kind of folder system. And well, I think it's not a surprise how to create a folder. From here, it says new folder and giving a name, example folder, and then create like that. And to delete this one or remove this folder, I simply right click in here and say delete. Okay, so that's the way how to create a folder, but because I don't need that one, I will delete it right away. Well, I will get into the AV Tech 2022 folder in here, and I will create a project for this example in here. The idea about the project, or the structure in here, the project is something that contains at least one timeline. So you need to decide what kind of production you are going to do. So if it feels natural to create a multiple timeline in one project, it's totally okay. But quite often my projects, for example, are made in that way that I create a project and actually that project contains only one timeline where I put all the clips together and make all the stuff which is needed, and then I will render that timeline out as a final product. So in those cases, the idea is that you have a project and then there is one timeline. And the other option, of course, is to have a multiple timelines. For example, those examples I explained earlier in this course, that you have a lot of material, and you know that it should be quite short to keep it interesting and so on, to show someone else than you. Then you create a timeline and make a kind of short version of your project, and that's fine, you render that out. But then you like to have more detailed and a little bit longer kind of director's cut for yourself. Then you can, because you have all that raw material imported in that project, you have that all on your hands, and you can use that same material to create your own version of this for yourself. So it's more, the project is more like, maybe it should be considered from the point of view of the raw material. If you're using the same base material, same video clips, same audio and stuff like that, then it's maybe in that case, it's maybe a good idea to have a project where you have maybe it's multiple timelines and different kind of compilations out of that material. But okay, so I will create a new project here, and I will call this one as a cut example. You will see quite soon what I mean with this one. And then I say create, and like this, now we are in the software. And now we got a mail. Let's see if it's Lee. Okay, so now there is an information from Lee. It says, sorry, I'm not able to start this course today. And then there is a short message for me. Maybe I call him when we have a break. So, oh God. Well, that's the information for the students who are participating to the Lee's Game Design Basics. So not today. Okay, so let's get back in here. So the page we are at right now is called cut page. That's the reason why I call this one as a cut example. The software itself, it's divided into different pages. So as you can see down here, the cut button is pressed down. So we are on a cut page. And what we see here, there is a media pool. Then there is a monitor window, which will show the content of the video clips or content of the timeline down here. So this is the timeline where we put all the clips we like to play with. And you can see the result in here. And hold on, let's see. I go down here, and because I have changed, I think I resetted the UI yesterday. So is this the view you see right now? So this is the hard part to explain, because yeah, okay, so that's the same. I had the inspector panel open, so there is a lot of different kind of panels in here. It seems that there is not that much tools, but part of the tools, they are hidden behind, so you need to be careful to have the similar view as you have also. Yep, so back in business again. So in here we have a part called media pool, which will contain all the content or all the raw material we are going to use. And if you have an access to Adobe software and you have Adobe Premiere installed, there is a lot of similarities in a workflow with that one. The tools are called maybe a little bit different and so on, but the idea is the totally same. You import the raw material in some place. I think the default, if you put on the default setting or layout in Premiere, this kind of the same thing which is called media pool in this software, it's placed in lower left corner in here, and from there you will take all the clips and edit those and put them on a timeline and so on. The workflow is quite the same. Different buttons, different some parts or some things are kind of found from different places, but the workflow it's totally the same. I will use some of the shortcut keys in here, and there is also similarity with the Premiere with some keys which are used for certain kind of things. But let's see that a little bit later. Then, well, let's get back in here a little bit later. Let's go shortly through the whole interface in here. I click the media down here on, and this is the media pool is actually shown in almost in all of these pages in here, because you need to have your material visible in different parts of the workflow, but still there is this kind of page which is used only for arranging the media, importing the files and marking them and putting on the different kind of metadata or coloring the clips to, for example, if you like to have certain kind of clip marked, you can select a color for a clip, and then in a cut page you can select those clips which have a certain color and so on. We will use the color option with the cut page in this exercise as well. But this is more like for arranging and importing the content to your project. And you can select the video clip or audio clip and play it in here in this media pool view and so on. So this is for the arranging and importing the content and material in your project, but it's not needed to do this way, because in a simple project you can handle the same all the things necessary you can handle in this small media pool part in here as well. Okay, so that was media. The cut is a default which opens when you start the software. Then the edit. It's kind of funny that there is two different kind of pages for kind of a similar thing to do. So with the cut page, you can import the clips to the timeline. You can cut the clips and do all the editing in there. And the edit has the kind of the same things in here. It looks a little bit different when, well, I will show this one when we get some content in our project, but you will see that the clips are showing a little bit different than in a cut page, and the how to handle those clips differs a little bit. But still, if you have kind of short project which has not that much material and it's quite fast to do, then it might be easier to use the cut page. And there is a lot of tools to use, but still the edit it's maybe more versatile, and there is some tricks which are not that easy to do in a cut page, but well, it depends. Sometimes I'm using the cut page. Actually, that speed editor keyboard I showed from the verkkokauppa.com. It's designed for a cut page. It works also with the edit page, but originally it was planned to use with a cut page. Then Fusion. This is the tool for effects. So in here we have an effect library. So there is a lot of different kind of effects in here. There is something about the creating an extra light to the video and texturing something or creating 3D objects in a video and so on. And well, this is maybe one of those pages that it might be one of the most interesting ones, but this is maybe the biggest difference between the free version and the paid version. So I might show some basic things from this page, but it's kind of a limited tool set in your version of these different kind of effects. I'm just checking the one thing in here. Yeah, the green screening option in here. It got all these different kind of tiers in here which are used for green or blue screening, but it can be done also on a next page called color. And this is one of the biggest things in this software. It's well, the DaVinci Resolve have a quite good reputation about how it handles the colors. So if you are doing the color correction or color grading, this is a good tool for that, and we will use maybe 2 of these lectures for making different kind of color grading exercises. So the color correction and color grading, they are quite close to each other as a terms, but the color correction is more like correcting to making colors to look natural. So for example, if you have had a wrong setting for white balance in a camera and all the colors are maybe too warm, for example, with the color correction, you try to get the white color to be clean white and the other colors following to the same direction. But then the color grading is kind of how to say it, cinematic workflow where you are trying to get a certain kind of feel for your clips. And well, we will check out a few examples when we are talking more closely about the color grading. But there is a lot of different kind of films which have a certain kind of color scheme in the movie. And for example, if you have seen the Matrix series or the Matrix movies, there is a two different kind of a color grading settings in that movie. There is a kind of different kind of hue in those parts of the film when we are in the Matrix, and well, there is a difference between coloring in the film between real world and the Matrix. So that's one good example of color grading. And actually, in this paid version that I have, there's also an option to take a kind of an example. If you have a certain kind of color grading in a clip, and you like to have the similar kind of feeling to your own clip, you can copy that feeling from example clip to another. So this is a quite big difference between the free version and this studio version. Then the Fairlight page looks quite empty as well, but this is for audio. So if I remember correctly, these pages are kind of they have been a different softwares at the time. So the Blackmagic Design, who is making this software, have both these kind of software. For example, the color page, it has been a standalone software which has been used only for the color grading and color correction, but then the Blackmagic Design bought that one and kind of imported it as a page in this whole software. And same thing with the Fairlight. It has been an independent software at some point, and it has been bought and kind of connected to this whole package. But again, because we don't have any material in here, we don't see anything in here, but this space in this part of the screen is reserved for the audio tracks. So you can set multiple audio tracks as it was in Audacity as well. So same thing, and then there will be a lot of tools for adjusting the audio. And as I said, there is a media pool everywhere. So if I click in here, you can see how it changed the screen or the setting in here, and I can add the audio clips and audio tracks in here as well. So the media pool follows you everywhere, like this. And then this have the effects library as well. So here we have these audio effects which can be used with the audio tracks in this page. Okay, but that will come kind of one of the last parts of the course in here. We will follow somehow the order of these pages throughout the rest of this course. Well, the last one in here, we have a deliver page, which is designed for rendering the final production or product. So you will create all that editing in a timeline, and when you have finalized that one, maybe done some effecting with the Fusion, then creating a color grading for your video, and maybe adjusting some sound or adding some extra effects in there, then you will render the final product out, and that's done with the deliver page. And the options you can use are seen in here. So this may vary a little bit if you have a PC, but I'm using my Mac computer because because this studio version is installed in my Mac, so there is no option for this studio. But we will get more detailed in here a little bit later. There is also a kind of quick render in a cut page as well, so you can do the basic rendering from there as well. But I would like to show this one. This is quite interesting because some of those Zoom recordings I'm doing, if there is a kind of a real big mistakes or something that I want to remove from those, I will use this software to cut off that kind of parts from the recordings. And then with this one, I can render the video and import those directly to my YouTube channel, where you can see all these recordings from my lectures. So this gives an option to make a rendering and then uploading so there is an option upload directly to YouTube. So I can, for example, leave this computer to render the video. It takes this reason I'm using studio version is the speed of rendering, because it's so much faster than the free version. There is a different kind of rendering engine in this version. So I leave this one, render the video. It may take half an hour or so, and then when the rendering is finalized, then it starts to upload the video automatically to the YouTube. If you like to use this one for your own productions, you need to give an information about your YouTube account. Now I don't remember where to find it, because in all Mac software the preferences is at the same place. Maybe you can check out from the help menu if you can find the preferences where it is in PC computers. But in here there is this kind of option which says internet accounts. So you can directly, after the rendering, you can directly put your videos in YouTube, Vimeo, Twitter, or Frame.io. So this is the quite nice option in this software. And as you can see, I'm using only the YouTube option. Okay. Then about I was talking about help. There is these two quite nice options or menu commands in here to resolve reference manual and resolve training. So there is let's first see this one. I think you can see, but I don't, because there is these zoom controls on the top of this bar here. But from here you can see how comprehensive this software is. The manual has 3,588 pages, so it's a kind of a Bible for this software in here. So there is so many things to cover in here, and if you like to see that one, then you can simply click that link or menu from the Resolve, and it shows this PDF for you. So there is all information needed in here. And then let's see, there is a basic training videos in here from the web page of Blackmagic Design. So that's also another option. Okay, well, that was about the software interface. Gone through quite fast, so I think the next thing is to start an exercise in here, and for that we need some material, and it seems that we are getting 10 o'clock quite soon, so it's a good place to share the material at this point. So again, depending on the speed of your internet connection, well, it's not that big as it was with the software itself, but I think it still is a couple of 100 megabytes in here. So there is a materials folder. I'll show that one. So there is this kind of structure where we have Windows Audio voice file here, the WAV file, or WAVE as it said. And then we have 19 clips of MP4s here. So you can download the whole folder, and after that we will start our exercise. So it's heading to 10 o'clock, so let's continue 15 past. Okay, so I think come on, some problems with my keyboard. It's doing its own stuff right now, so I'm trying to change the software in here. Okay. Yeah, so I downloaded the same material as you from Moodle, and as you can see, there is two subfolders called audio and video, as it was in a Moodle. So in here we have this audio file, and then all these clips. And I will rename this, for example, let's say cut exercise, like so. And then I will get in here at the cut page. And as I said, the idea in here is to have all the material in here you need, and then use that one as a base for something you construct in here in timeline. So you can use the import media, which is like this. So From here, I can see the cut exercise, and if I say open, it opens the folder, but it doesn't import anything. So the import command is only for single file. So I'm saying cancel in here. And as you can see, import media, it's this sign, which is command in Mac computers, so it means control in PCs, so Control I. That's again one of those shortcut keys I'm using, and this is also the same in Adobe Premiere. So Control I is when you are importing the clips in your project. But in here, because the all the material is already nicely structured in those two folders, it might be a better idea to use this button up here. So import media can be found in here. The same thing as with the right mouse button, this one, or Control or Command I. But if you have that kind of folder structure, it might be a good idea to make it this way. So I'm selecting a cut exercise folder and saying open. And at this point, it doesn't change the folder because we are importing the whole folder structure. At the same time, the before it imports the content from that location, it asks if I want to change the project frame rate. I'm not quite sure what is the default frame rate for our timelines in here, but now it noticed that in some way the content in those folders is somehow different than the basic settings of this project. So usually I'm saying change. There is some situation when I like to change it by myself, but usually in this case, all the video clips have the same resolution, they have the same frame rate, and it's easiest to say here that change. So it will copy that characteristic from those video clips to be the same in this timeline or in this project. Okay, so now in here we have the audio and we have a video. And if I'm going up to the master level here, I can see the cut exercise folder, which contains these. Okay, so now we have something especially in here. And now we can start to create some content in timeline. You can, well, let's first check out what are the what you can do in here in a media pool if you are using or importing the content. First of all, there is 4 different kind of views for this content. So the metadata view gives this kind of small thumbnail video in here, and you can go through the video like this, dragging the mouse cursor left and right. Same in here, so you can easily see what is in these clips. That's this kind of a thing. You can select the clip you want, or this was the default I had, this kind of small thumbnails in here. Or then, well, I rarely use this one because well, especially if you have long clips, it might be quite difficult to see what's in the clip. So, but anyhow, there is this kind of possibility to check out what is the content of the clip. And then the last one, which is sometimes this is quite handy because there is a lot of different kind of characteristics or features of the video you can list in here. There is only this start time code, date created, clip name, camera number. If you have multiple cameras set, you can, for example, add this metadata in here, that this one was shot with camera number 1 and this was with camera number 2 and so on. What is the scene number or name in here? What is the shot? What is the take, and so on? You can add a lot of metadata in here, but usually this is done in the media pool page, maybe not in here. Then clip color, I was talking about using the clip color to arrange certain kind of clips and so on. Date modified, date added, and some comments. So here is these a few of these kind of features shown in here. But if you come on, trying to add some more by using the right mouse button, nothing happens this time. Well, weird. This was the thing I did just yesterday, but then, well, we'll get back in there a little bit later. But then you can sort the media with the time code, camera, date, time, clip name, or some other characteristic in here. But now I used the clip name, so now it starts numbering from 001 and then 2, 3, 4, and so on. So that's the one possibility in here. Or you can, if you know some, for example, some part of the name 002, you can filter that file out of that list. So that's the way how to handle things if you have a lot of different kind of clips. Then let's get back to this view in here. Normally the idea is not to take all of these to the timeline and not without any cutting. Well, these clips, they are kind of ready. There is nothing too much at the start or at the end of the clips, but usually when you are shooting, you should have some kind of extra space in a clip. For example, if you are doing a real or you have a kind of production where you have all that kind of stuff that you have the scene name and other things at the start of the clip. When you start to shooting, usually you show that thing that filmmakers are using, where there is a shot number and such things, and that's a thing which should be taken off, of course, from the start of the clip. But it usually doesn't happen here at the timeline. It's usually made as a raw cut in here. And I drag and drop something in here, but nothing is seen because there is also these 4 buttons, and I need to click the first one. And now I press the space bar. This is also one of those common keys, which is the same in many of these video editing softwares, that with the space bar you usually play and pause the video like that. The idea in here is to make kind of a raw cut in this view. Now I have this one clip in this preview window, and if I start here, well, the guy is approaching to this ship behind, and if I'm feeling that there's some parts I don't like to have, maybe I can cut that video from here. And these things are called in and out points. So if I'm pressing I as in, you can see how it dims out this part of the clip. So this part is now cut off. And when I'm saying cut off, I mean that we are editing the video, but we are not making any modifications to the original clip. So this is the idea of the same idea is with audio editing and with the video editing. It's kind of non-destructive way to handle the material. I'm just saying that I don't want to see this part of the video. I would like to have it started from that time, so 2 seconds and 21 frames. And then I start to play again, and I would like to stop there where he landed to the water. So to getting back here, I can drag the handle of this playhead and splash like there. I'm pressing O. This hasn't be to that strict. You can make it in that way that it gets close to the situation you like to have. For example, if I start to play this one from the start or somewhere in here, I can press O close to that time where I want to cut the video. So somewhere in there. It's not that strict in this way. And then now if I take the video from here, from this view, and I drag it down here, you can see how it starts. Now the view in here changes to the timeline 1, and the view button in here shows that we are seeing a timeline. So there is a source clip, source tape, timeline, and then save area. So this gives this kind of borders for the view where, well, the safe area means that if you have a certain kind of device which is used for watching the video, you can use this kind of in editing mode, you can use different kind of borders to keep your content in kind of a safe area. There is a few different of these. There's, for example, for social media, usually you're using the content in vertical position, so you can have this kind of safe area and try to keep your main content inside this one. I'm taking that off. Okay, so now if I press the space bar, you can see how this clip on a timeline starts to roll. And there is 2 playheads in this cut page. This is kind of thing I needed to use because the idea with the playheads was totally different in Adobe Premiere. Well, it's the how we can see how it looks in edit page. So this is more like Premiere has. So you are tracking the playhead in here and things are happening like this. But in a cut page there is a little bit different approach for this. You cannot track the playhead, so I can't move it in here. The thing you are moving is the clip, or actually you are not moving a clip, you are moving a playhead over the clip, but it happens like this. And if you like to move the playhead, you can see the project playhead in here, and that acts like a normal playhead as it is in a edit page. This is a little bit how to say, it's not difficult, but it's totally different approach for this. It's called lock playhead, and then there is a free playhead. So lock is this, and if you are using a free playhead option, then it works like this. But when I'm doing the things in a cut page, I already have used to use this lock option in here. And usually, if I'm making a big movements in a timeline, then I'm using this smaller bar here, not to move this one. So then if I need to do some precise adjustment, I will do it in here. Then about the keyboard, maybe we add another clip next to this one. So when you add the first clip on a timeline, the software jumps into the main level in here. You can see there is a cut exercise folder, and then there is a timeline number 1. And this is the thing it does all the time. So the timeline is created on a kind of a root level of this project. But now I need to get back in here. I will drag this one again in here. Nothing happens because we are watching the timeline right now. Need to change the view to be like this. And again, if I start to play, you can see the whole clip in here. And if I like to cut some part of start off, I can start to play. And then, well, trying to press I in here, but my Bluetooth keyboard is again giving me some problems. So usually I'm doing this on a fly without stopping the playhead in here, but it seems that I need to do it like this. Of course, if I take the my speed editor keyboard on, that would work nicely with this one, but I'm now playing with the keyboard, normal keyboard. So now I'm leaving it like this. I'm taking some part of start off, and the out point is at the end of the clip. So like so, and now it goes like this. Then I can of course move in here by dragging the playhead. You can see how we have these two clips in here. This is this one, and then the border or seam of these two is in there, and this one is the boy with his father. And how to move with the keyboard in here, you can use the arrow keys. So if you need to have kind of detailed or my keyboard is totally wild because I'm trying to press only once and it starts to roll. But if I'm pressing the arrow left, then it jumps one frame at a time to the left, so closer to the start of the timeline. And then if I'm pressing arrow right, then it jumps one frame at a time to the right. So that's the idea here. Then the up arrow moves the playhead closer to the start, and it jumps to the previous border of the clips in here. So that's the idea of the up arrow, and down arrow goes to the next border of a clip. So a couple times up moves me to the start, and then a couple clicks to down arrow moves me in here. And that is those four are maybe from the keyboard, maybe the most used ones when I'm moving a playhead around a project. In here, what happened to the preview window, you can see this kind of saw edge, kind of or zigzag line in here. This means that you are at the end of the timeline. So this is the end of the timeline, and it's not seen that clearly in here, but here we have a kind of we should have a nice gray bar in here at the start of the timeline, but it doesn't show that well. But this one shows clearly that you are at the end of the timeline. Then we have been using the source clip and timeline options in this preview window. And what is this one in the middle? Source tape. Source tape means this folder in here. So it's kind of a whole storage of your clips. And you can see how it puts all these clips in a timeline. So there is timeline which has length of this, then a couple of shorter timelines, not timelines, shorter clips, and then a longer one, a little bit shorter, even shorter, and more shorter, and so on. So you have all these content, all this content in here. And now if you can use these play buttons as well, so you can go through the whole content of this folder. Well, of course, it may take some time to go through and see all things in here, because of this speed, how it rolls with the normal speed in here. And let's see if I move this to the end, it's more than 2 minutes, the total length of this content. But then you can kind of fast forward the whole thing in this way, that if you put this on and then you have this fast review button in here, I'm clicking that on, and it gives a fast review for the content of this folder, because we are now in a source tape mode playing fast review. And it works in that way that if you have a long clip which takes more time, it speeds it up. So short clips, if you have a really short clip, it even I think it even makes it kind of slow motion in some cases. But if you have a really long clip, then it goes further really fast. So as you can see in here, this was kind of fast forward and so on. So it if you have 2 hours, for example, if you have a lot of raw material which takes 2 hours totally, you can, in a few minutes, you can go through that whole material like this. And if it's too fast and you notice that there was something interesting and you would like to see it, you can of course stop and then put playback on and trying to get that certain clip, and it shows all the time which clip is played. So when you realize that, okay, this one is something I like to check more carefully, then you can see it's this one in here, and then you can drop it over here and turn to source clip. Now we are watching this clip in here, and it the playhead is placed exactly to the same place as it was in a source tape mode. So it seems that nothing changes, but as you can see, we have the whole content in here. And okay, now the zoom controls jumped over. Now I can see the button in here. So this is the one single clip at the same frame. And in here, you can also have these up and down arrows for the clip. So up takes you at the start of the clip and down takes you at the end of the clip. Okay, like so. And take this one down here. And as you can see, the length of the timeline or this kind of view of the smaller timeline, it gets longer all the time. And finally, when it gets at the end in here, it starts to squeeze the timeline. So you are seeing the whole timeline all the time in here. I'm adding some content in here without any cutting beforehand. So now I have these 4 clips. First the ship, then these 2 guys in here, then this flying guy in here, and then the last one. And as you can see, the last one is here, third one is here, and this one is here, so on. If there is a need for separate these or see these more clearly, you can use the color option, as I already mentioned that we will use the clip color in these. So I'm going over this one in here, and you can see the clip color. I'm taking, for example, orange for this one. It has orange color in here, and same thing in this smaller timeline. So it's quite easy to find this one, even if the length of this timeline is, or there is a lot of clips, you can use the color to easily find certain clip from this list. You can use the color option also in here. For example, if I like to have all those clips separated, or not separated, but shown in here, which has only the water and this some guy in or on water. So these are kind of totally the view of sea with a hoverboard. And therefore I'm pressing Command or Control in PC and clicking these active. Oops. Let's try it this way. And clip color, and taking the, for example, violet for these. You can see this small dot over these clips in here, and you can see that I have been using one of these in a timeline. It also changes to the purple color. Okay, so that's about the coloring, and sometimes it's a really good practice to give this kind of a sign or symbol for certain kind of clips in here. Need to add that violet also for this one. Okay, so that was about all kind of making things to be in order, or categorizing the things and seeing how it shows in a timeline. Now when we have had this kind of modifications for these. Well, as I said, the cutting or the adjusting the length of the clip here in a preview window by using this view. That's the kind of one of those options, and the it doesn't have to be that strict. So if there is if you hit I and O kind of in a position which is quite close that the result you want to have, you can adjust the final result more precisely down here. So I clicked this part of these clips between the first and the second one. So you can see it turned green, and it means that I can move this one further or closer to the start. And what it makes, you can see what happens in a timeline or in a preview window when I'm tracking this one in a timeline. So it shows the last frame from the first clip and then the first frame from the second clip. So it can be adjusted like this. And that bar below my cursor down in the timeline, there is that kind of transparent rectangle with a white border. It shows those frames, how much you have frames cut off from the first. So it's kind of hard to show because you need to press this mouse button down to show that rectangle. But now when I'm releasing it disappears. But that part to the right from this green bar here, that part of the rectangle shows those frames which are cut off from the first clip, and the part to the left from this green bar here shows those frames which are taken off from the second clip in here. So you can see that, and that means that I cannot move further in here because the first, not the first, but the second clip starts in here. I cannot take off more or move the border here more longer. So that's the idea with this kind of modification. Well, then you can also make it like this. So the problem in this method here in the first place is that it might be so that you cannot find that kind of situation where the last frame from on the left side fits nicely to the first frame of the second clip. So you simply, if you are moving this, you are revealing the frames from another clip and taking off them from another clip. But now if I again like to get, for example, that frame where he hits the water like that, but I feel that this part or this frame in here, which is actually this frame, if this is not suitable to be the first frame on a next clip, you can always move the frames like this. Now I'm taking, you need to follow the how the cursor looks like. So if there is a two-sided cursor, then it changes the position of this cut point. But then if you are approaching this border here from the right, you can see how it changes to the only one-sided cursor. And now when I'm tracking this to the left, you can see how it affects only, tracking this one to the right, it affects only to the clip number 2. So the last frame from the first clip stays, and then you can adjust the clip from the first frame from the next clip. Sorry. So this is how it's quite easy to adjust that so-called continuity, that you have cut your previous clip in a certain point, and then you want to connect the next one to fit in that. It might be so that you need to take a couple of frames off, and with this kind of method you can easily to see what frame would be best possible in there. And what it does, it at the same time it shortens the clip in here. You need to take care of that also, because too short clips, it's not nice to see only 5 or 6 frames. It kind of flashes there and so on. Then if you don't want to shorten this space which is reserved for this clip, you can use these handles here in the middle, and it gives you an option to move those frames inside this space which is reserved for this clip. And the same thing at the end, you can also push or drag back this part in here, but again it changes the length of this clip. So there is 4 different ways, simply without any tool buttons, to make modifications to the timeline. So that's the basic way to make these things happen without any extra tools. Okay. It's also already 11:02. Maybe we have a 5-minute break, because I must stop after, well, latest 11:30. So I will let you to do a certain kind of exercise with this video content. So, but I have to leave by myself past. So let's have a really short break here, 5 minutes. Okay, so so we have in here, we have played with the whole thing without any tools, but we have a tools in here, and actually these tools can also be replaced with the kind of mouse gestures. So you necessarily don't need these tools at all. You may work with your mouse most of the time without using any tool in here. And let's try to do some things without these tools first. Let's see, I will go over this clip. You should also have a little bit longer clip to this example in here, to easier to see what happens. So I'm in the middle of this longish clip in here, and let's see. If I'm taking this one, this is quite short, couple of seconds only, maybe two or so, and I'm going in here. You can see how it first tries to well, if I'm leaving the mouse button now, it creates a new track on a timeline. So that's one thing you can do. And the upmost track always covers those frames which are under it. So there would be a part where we can see these ladies, and then we will get back to the water scene after these frames are over. That's one option you can do. But then if I'm going a little bit lower, so I'm taking my mouse cursor down here and releasing the button, it replaces that long clip with this one. And I'm saying Control Z in here. Actually, I'm changing the color for this clip to show it more clearly. So I'm changing, for example, lime for this one. And now again, I'm tracking it here and taking or releasing the mouse button. You can see how it replaces the clip totally. Another option, another way to add something is to take the clip going over the clip you are replacing, but then staying there for a second. And now you can see how it starts to, or well, it shows how it replaces only that part of the original clip, which is covered in here. So if you're simply dragging and dropping it over, then it replaces the whole clip. But if you keep your mouse button pressed for 2 or 3 seconds, you can see how it replaces that part. And that's the other option. Again, without any buttons up here. So I think, do we have that option actually? I think it's no, it's not this one. Well, let's go through these buttons in here. So I'm taking this one closer to the start of this clip in here, and I have this one in my source clips selected. And now if I click the Smart Insert button in here, it inserts the, let's take it, I'm doing undo in here. So the Smart Insert idea with that button is it checks where the playhead is, and it's closer to this edge of this clip. So selected clip will be placed between these two. So, and if I'm taking this one in here and pressing the Smart Insert, it will place it in here. So that's the, again, idea about this fast editing. You don't need to be so precise to have things happening. So you know that I want to have certain clip between these two. Take the playhead close to the border, and it works, of course, with this way also. So it's close to that over there, and then Smart Insert. Append. It adds the clip to the end of the timeline. So if you are putting the new clips one after another on a timeline, then you can use the append option in here without seeing that end of the timeline. It might be so that playhead is somewhere in here, and you know that I need to add this one to the end of the timeline. You don't need to move anything in here, just selecting and clicking append. This of course adds the unedited clip over there, but if you like to make, for example, this clip has been used already, so but I'm adding it in here, and then again these tools from Zoom are covering my buttons in here like that. And now if I like to cut this one, so in point over there, out point over there, and now this is active, and if I'm clicking append in here, it adds this short part from that source monitor or preview in here. If you select the same thing in here, it will add the whole thing, but if this is active when pressing append, it will take in and out point and making that kind of cut in here. So that's the thing in here. So like so, and now there is 3 times the same thing. Okay, what else? The overwrite. Well, the smart insert between 2 clips on that place which is closest to the playhead, append to the end, then ripple override. So this one shows that guy over there. And let's change, for example, I'm using this one with the full length, and it replaces the whole clip. It also makes more space. If this clip is longer than the original one, it pushes these clips in here further and replaces all the frames of the previous clip and expands, or it also shortens if the clip which is replacing that one, if it's shorter, it also shortens the total length of the timeline as well. So like this. Close up, it's kind of interesting thing. The close up. Let's try that one, for example, with this short clip in here. The close-up creates, as it says, a close-up. It creates a new track here in the timeline. Now I have 2 video tracks, and there is this kind of a short part in here. And as you can see, the original is like this, and then when we are at this frame, it zooms in like this. So this is kind of handy thing to make this kind of close-up if there is enough quality in original video clips. So as you can see, it's quite blurry in here already with this kind of zooming. So of course it doesn't create a new clip, it simply makes a copy and then it zooms in with a certain amount of zooming. And it's also adjustable, so you can select what if you like to have more or less zooming in here. Then place on top works like this. This close-up creates a close-up from the clip under the playhead. The place on top takes selected content from here or here and places on top of the clip behind under the playhead. So that's the idea in here. And then there is a source override. Let's place this one over there, and it goes like this. So it doesn't. It's the how it looks is it's the same as we have in here. This was done by dragging the clip over the long clip in here and keeping the left mouse button pressed a couple of seconds, and it made it like this. So these are the options you can use when you are using the cut page. And well, I quite rarely use this button because most of the things can be done simply by taking your mouse cursor to the certain point or dragging these clips around and so on. So it's quite easy and handy to do short presentations or short videos with these tools simply by dragging and dropping things in a certain places. Maybe one of these, the append button, is something I'm using sometimes because it's quite handy to add to the end of the timeline something. If you don't see the real end, you can use the append button without seeing the end of the timeline, so you don't need to drag it from here to down to the timeline. Okay, then we had an audio. So if I'm getting back here and opening the audio clip, and for this I think I'd like to see the start of the timeline. So clicking over there, and then I'm dragging and dropping this one here, not there but below the video. In here there is a place for audio. So now we have this kind of background music here.
Okay, and now I'm ready to shine, and I'm only getting bigger and better and up the line. Got a bright light in the top right of my mind. Everybody watch out, cause it's my time, and I'm never giving it up. I'm never gonna stop. I'm never giving it up and gotta be top, and I rock before I stop.
So adding an audio is that simple, and the there is no options for adjusting the audio that much in a cut page. If you like to play with the audio more, then you need to go to the Fairlight page, of course. And as you can see, we have our video in here, and the those video clips, they had an audio, even though it was silent. There was an audio track. That's the reason why there is audio 1, 2, and 3. We should use this kind of option in here. I forgot that because we have a video only in there, even though they have an audio tracks, but there is no audio. And if I'm pressing the video only down here, when I'm tracking and dropping this content in a timeline, it really brings in only the video without audio track. But that's not a big deal in here, so no reason to use that. But as I said, it's a thing that can be noticed in here. This doesn't show anything about the video clips. These are pure audio tracks in here. You can see the small preview about the video in here. And here you can adjust the thing more, or audio more precisely, but that's something which will be covered quite a bit later. So the thing which usually is done in here, founds from this button. There is kind of sliders, 3 of them, and then in here you have an audio button in here, and the thing you can adjust is the amount of volume of the audio in this timeline. So that's the thing which can be adjusted in a cut page. Okay, so now we have run through quite a lot of different kind of methods and tools in here. We need to check out these. There is a lot of options in here still, but let's check out these next time. But now I need to give you an exercise, and it uses this same content we have here, and I'm saying Control A for all these clips and saying delete. And let's see, we get back here, and then I need to reveal the cut exercise from here. Okay, so the idea in here is to use that audio track and those clips and create a similar compilation that we already did there, but trying to get the cutting to the beat. So usually when you have background music, and especially this loud that we have here, the cutting is done to the beat. So try to keep the clips short And now if I'm tracking this one in here, like that, and you can hear the beat. So it is that bass drum which is kicking the beat there, and you can also see these high peaks here giving the beat. So well, try to get the cut for a clip to be at the first kick to the bar. So I'm trying to say this, well, I say this in Finnish. Elikkä yrittäkää saada se osumaan se leikkauskohta siihen niin kuin tahdin ensimmäiselle iskulle, jos ikään kuin löydätte sen rytmin sieltä. So same thing in Finnish. So the first hit in a bar is the place for a cut usually. So it gives it's one of those things which is kind of automatically happening inside us. So or at least I'm kind of annoyed in sometimes when I'm watching some movie or TV series or something, and there is loud background music, and when cutting is happening kind of out of the beat, then it starts to annoy at some point. So this is not a music video, but the same thing with, especially with the music videos, that if you are cutting a music video, it's crucial to have that happening exactly to the beat. So that's the idea for this exercise, and that's all from my side from today. I'm a little bit in a hurry because I need to be in a meeting in a campus quite soon. So I'm running over there right after I shut this connection. So let's see, did I remember? Yeah, there is no return for that one, but I will add that also at the same time when I'm adding this lecture video over there. So it will be this afternoon or evening. All right, but that was the start of this. There is a huge amount of different kind of things we are going through with the software. So it's so, there is so many things to cover. So this was only a scratch of a surface. So thank you for your time, and let's see each other next week. Bye.